Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on Sitcom Showdown. Hello and welcome back to Sitcom Showdown. Jeff is here and I've got Steve with me.
Hey, how's it going?
It's your turn, Steve.
Yes. Oh, I've chosen an episode of Black Books.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, man.
You're getting excited there?
I'm getting excited.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
This episode's called Manny's First Day.
Oh.
So as you can probably guess, it's an early one.
Yep.
It's the second episode from season 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Let me tell you a bit about Black Books.
Oh, right.
And I'll speak to you as if you knew nothing about it.
Oh, good. Right. Let's do that.
So Bernard Black is a drunken, slovenly, antisocial proprietor of Black Books. A bookshop. Thanks, Kat. He has a personal dislike of his customers, treating his bookshop more like a personal library. In fact, someone else wrote that, but I like that bit, so I stole it. I said he's also the Basil Fawlty of bookshops. Manny is his downtrodden employee. Manny is a nice, quirky guy who moves in with Bernard behind the shop. And I was initially at a bit of a loss to describe Manny, but I described him as an enigmatic character. He's got long hair, a knee-length leather coat in this episode and a waistcoat. He's a bit childlike, and I'd say he's more of a passive, accepting character than Bernard for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Fran, she runs a shop next door to Black Books. She's Bernard's friend and they share a passion for drinking and smoking.
Oh, they do. This is all accurate.
Yes, turns out she's like the mediator between these two. Bernard's more of an aggressive personality. Manny's more of a passive personality. And she's the mediator between the two. So this was on the Channel 4 network in the UK. It ran for 3 seasons between 2000 and 2004. Famous stars and other interesting background. Well, Bernard is played by Dylan Moran, who is a stand-up comedian, and he's done some films, including Notting Hill. That's probably the most famous one. And Shaun of the Dead.
I don't remember him being in Shaun of the Dead.
No, neither do I.
Oh, okay.
But he's of the same generation as the rest of that gang.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't you say? Yep. Manny's played by Bill Bailey, who's also a stand-up comedian who uses music to great effect in his comedy. He's a gifted musician who has perfect pitch. What does that mean, Jeff?
It means that if you said, give us a G sharp, he'd be able to sing one perfectly without having a reference tone. You know, right. You wouldn't have to give him a C for him to know where he's at on the next one.
Yep. And if I hit a glockenspiel or something like that, he could tell me which note I was hitting.
Tell you which note it was, yeah.
Handy. Fran is played by Tamsin Gregg. I hope I'm pronouncing that.
That's how I'd pronounce it.
Yeah. And she's an actress who's worked a lot in radio, TV, theatre and cinema. I can't really remember where I started watching this. I don't think it was on TV though, so it must have been on DVD at some point. What about you?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's the sort of show that people would discover and then share. So I don't remember sitting down to watch it on TV or just the TV being on and it coming on. So someone would have definitely recommended it to me. And, you know, I've ended up with a box set. I don't remember buying it.
Oh, you have got the box set?
I have got the box set of Black Books.
Because I forgot to bring mine tonight.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
I thought we were going to have to resort to watching YouTube, but no, that's good.
Aha.
All right, well, we'll go off and watch this and come back and have a chat about it.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Where's he gone?
Oh, I thought he might like to have a look at your spare room.
Why?
Oh, you know, if you want him living with you all the time.
Are you insane?
Well, he's great, Bernard. What's wrong with him?
He's trouble, is what he is. I can smell it a mile off. He's got all sorts of fancy notions, and he. Do you know what I saw earlier when you weren't here and you couldn't have seen it? He was sucking his trousers and laughing.
That's a lie, isn't it?
No! Absolutely true. No, don't. I made it up.
Come on, Bernard, you'd be crazy to let him go. You need someone normal around here.
Normal? He's normal, is he? Is he? What am I then?
Well, you're a freak, Bernard, you know that.
Yes, I know. But I have rights!
This is what you've needed for the past 5 years. I better get back to the shop. Bye, Manny.
You there, Lord of the Rings. Let's talk about how this whole one-day trial thing is going anyway, okay? At the moment, you're fired. So it's not going that well.
No.
What's that?
That's a bottle of wine to celebrate if the first day went well.
Welcome back on board.
We're back, and we're going to tell you about what happened in this episode. So let's give you a little synopsis. Jeff, you said it'd been a little while since you'd watched this one.
Yep, it'll be a few years.
But it was coming back to you as we went through it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's a bit of a strange start to Black Books, I think, because most sitcoms start with the situation in place and a new character comes in the first episode and they join the cast of characters and you move on from there with later episodes. But in Black Books, you've got a strange situation where in episode 1, you meet the characters, but the situation isn't really there yet.
So remind us what happens in episode 1 then.
Well, in episode 1, Manny's working in an accountant's office.
Right.
And he's getting stressed out because of what's going on at work, and he comes into Black Books to buy the Little Book of Calm.
That's right, okay.
So he comes in at that point, and then they kind of go off on their own tangents.
Yeah.
Bernard's dealing with this issue with his accountants, and it's obvious from this that his business he's not running
shambles.
It's a shambles. He's not running it well. Manny goes back to work, and he was it some kind of breakdown or something like that?
Yeah.
Anyway, he ingests the Little Book of Calm.
And then becomes a guru of sorts.
Then kind of makes his way back to Black Books towards the end of the episode, and he gets beaten up by these skinheads, and Bernard kind of intervenes and he gets beaten up as well. And there must be after that, this episode
that
we're
they went
talking
to the
about
pub.
now happens after they went to the pub following that.
Right.
So it's not really until episode 3 that you get
The beginning
proper, I won't say proper episodes, but
Yeah.
a standard kind of episode. Anyway, so this
That is unusual. Very refreshing.
yeah. So Manny turns up for his first day of work, finds that Black Books is shut. Well, the closed sign is appearing. So he goes next door to Fran's shop, and it's a bit of an awkward introduction. Well, she doesn't remember him. In fact, neither, this is what we're saying about it being a bit of a strange start to the second episode, is that neither Bernard or Fran remember Manny at the start of this episode.
Ah,
Although she did bump into Manny during episode 1.
okay. It shows how self-involved they are in their own little worlds.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and how drunk Bernard was at the pub the night before. Fran's astounded that Bernard has hired someone to work in the bookshop, and Manny heads back to Black Books and gets in the door to discover that Bernard's asleep on the couch and extremely hungover, and he's got no memory of the previous evening when he hired Manny. And then we get this fantastic flashback to the pub in the night before.
Yeah.
So he's so drunk that he's mistaking this elderly lady in the pub for Manny. Mixes up the drinks orders, gets Manny's name wrong multiple times. It's just, like you said, it's complete.
He's barely conscious.
He's barely conscious.
Bernard.
I don't know why they were serving him, but anyway.
Different days.
Different days, yeah, that's right. It's a complete disaster. But Manny still turns up the next day, which tells you something about his character. Of course, at this point, Bernard's no longer hot on the idea of employing someone, but he reluctantly lets himself get talked into a one-day trial. And he's very rude to Manny.
Oh, yeah. That's standard, isn't it? But
It's standard behaviour for him. Didn't know whether he was turning it up a notch or two to try and get rid of Manny.
I reckon so.
Before the end of the day.
But then again, you'd think, yeah, that makes sense. He's turning it up a notch or two. But then when you see future episodes, you think he's almost being polite. So the familiarity breeding contempt hasn't kicked in yet.
Right.
So, yeah, I think he has cranked it up a notch to try and get rid of Manny. But then when he gets to know him better and is more comfortable around him, he does much worse things to him.
It gets worse. So Manny, he acquaints himself with the long list of do's and don'ts that apply in the shop to not only customers but to employees as well. No mobiles, no Walkmans, none of that. None of any of the others.
Or any of the others. Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, he's still labouring under the misconception that a bookstore should sell books to customers. And, but he
How
actually...
could Manny be so stupid?
Yeah, well, I don't know where he was...
What
he was thinking.
Ideas like that?
Yeah. But he actually does sell some books when Bernard pops out to the Oxfam shop. In fact, he sells so many books that Bernard has to ring the ordering place and order some new books, which is a bit of a chore, apparently.
It's a beautiful, scene / discussion he has with the ordering people, and you're just thinking, yeah, I love that little bit.
Is this the place you ring when you
need books
need
sell
books
in your
to sell in your
bookstore?
bookstore?
And he goes, "Oh God,
Yeah,
I don't know."
Obviously, they're going, well, what do you need? What would you like?
Or
And
they're
he's like,
saying, well, probably the basics before that, like, okay, what's the name of your shop, and do you have a customer number, and blah blah blah, or even what's your name? And Bernard would still say, "I don't know." Anyway,
why are you bothering me with these details?
Exactly.
Just send the books. But Manny takes over quite capably. So at the end of the day, Manny's sold books. He's gotten on well with the customers, but he's advised that it's not that kind of operation. It's just not going to work out. So Bernard lets him go. And on his way out, Manny pops in to say goodbye to Fran. And
in her little gift shop.
In her little gift shop.
Which is a very nice gift shop. Sorry, I don't mean to go on tangents there, but it's a real nice store.
What do you like about it?
The undershelf lighting was nice. The
Yes.
knickknacks were nice.
Knickknacks.
I think just like the fact that it wasn't Bernard's shop made it look better by comparison.
Yeah, it's actually tended to.
Yeah.
There's no mollusks
on the
going
pipe.
on the pipes. What do you call that curtain thing that she's got? Bead curtain?
Oh, the
or something
beaded
like
curtain, yeah. Yep, that'd let you know when customers are coming in.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Anyway, when she finds out that Bernard has let Manny go, she's not impressed, and she goes around and browbeats Bernard into hiring Manny, and then gets them together like a couple of little children and says, what do you want to say? And Bernard's like, sure. Puts his hand out and gives the most pathetic handshake you've ever seen. And that's pretty much the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any initial thoughts?
Well, my thoughts were, compared to all the other episodes, like virtually nothing happens in this one. It's actually, it could be, out of the whole series, the slowest and least entertaining episode of the whole series, but it's still miles ahead of most other sitcoms. And I'm only comparing it to itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying this is slow and not entertaining. It's highly entertaining. And it's slow compared to other things that happen. And not particularly crazy. Although there's some beautifully crazy moments in there.
There's a few crazy moments.
When the fly shuts the door behind itself when
Yes,
it leaves.
That's one of them. Where Bernard basically goes to the toilet from a swivel chair.
Yeah, in the shop.
From the shop.
With
from
a
inside
customer
the shop.
standing behind him.
Yeah, and there's a boy reading a book around the corner. At the
Without
same time.
taking his eyes off his book, he walks his chair without getting up to the toilet doorway, unzips and does his business with all the customers there.
Manny doesn't react at all to this.
No. Well, what can you say?
Well, it's like he didn't even notice.
Yeah, even when you could hear the tinkling.
Yeah.
But the thing about black books is that, look, a lot of people would love to work in a bookshop or have a little bookshop, and they think that'd be a nice little life to have if I could, if I won lotto, I'd open a little bookstore and do my thing and da-da-da-da-da. And there's lots that's appealing about the world of Bernard and black books. Bernard's not part of the appeal, obviously.
No. We'll take him out of the equation.
I'm just thankful that you can't smell the bookshop. I'm getting to in a roundabout way, because you think, wow, a cool little bookshop where you're alone and there's interesting things happening. But you couldn't be in there for more than 5 seconds.
No, it's not an appealing place.
No. But yeah, apart from that, it's a wonderful universe to be invited into.
Yes. Well, I'll start going through some notes here and sing out when you've got something to say. So Bernard's obviously completely sozzled the night before, and he asks Manny to come and work for him. But why does he do it, Jeff? It intrigues me, especially when the next day he's not only forgotten about it, but he tries to get out of it. He even says, I can't take care of everything around here. It's mayhem. So on one level, Bernard knows that he needs some help. And Fran obviously knows it too. But then he spends the next day sabotaging himself by trying to get rid of Manny.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that?
Oh, wow, yes. It's a cry for help, isn't it? There's probably a deep psychological cry for help. And then he gets some help. But then his other side of his personality kicks in and says, don't get out of your comfort zone, Bernard. It's lovely in here. Just drink some more wine and have some more ciggies.
Yeah.
So
He's a complicated character.
Yeah, there's an internal battle going on.
Definitely. Manny's a much more simple kind of person. He's
Wears
given,
his heart on his sleeve, you know, it's all there in front of you.
Yeah. He gives Bernard absolutely no reason to fire him. He's so earnest, he does everything right, he's prompt, well-dressed, helpful to the customer, sells the books.
Yeah.
Even knows what to reorder. But despite that, he ignores Bernard being rude.
Yeah.
But despite all that, no.
Doesn't get the job.
See you later, Jack.
Oh.
Any thoughts on Fran in this episode?
Yeah.
Why is she funny?
In this episode, she wasn't necessarily funny, but still a character that you warm to very, very quickly. I don't know if that's in comparison to Bernard, but she's just a very nice, genuine person. And at the very moment at the beginning that Manny steps into her gift shop and she gives the most big, lovely smile,
Yep.
and that gets you off to a good start.
Mm.
And, she's the voice of reason.
She's the voice of reason. I like the way she has some kind of control over Bernard. I don't know exactly how that works,
Yeah.
but I think you need it. You need that somewhere in the show because otherwise wouldn't be compelled to do anything, would he?
True. Yeah, he needs her to save him, and so if he completely alienates her, then he'll go down his own, I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. She's his only friend in the
world.
something like that.
I reckon that's about right.
What else have I got? Well, Dylan Moran's drunken acting. I think this pushes Pam Beasley out of the top spot in our rankings.
Right, I'm just making some notes here. It's astonishing you say that because last week, even though I didn't actually prepare an episode of Sitcom Showdown, I did take some notes on way back when we mentioned drunk acting and is Bernard Black the pinnacle of drunk acting. And I'd forgotten about Pam.
Okay.
We might have to set aside a whole episode with a dozen or more instances of drunk acting and then rate them.
We'll go topical.
Yes. Anyway, sorry.
But people we have covered, obviously the character of Pam from The Office.
Yep.
And we covered that. And Father Jack,
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Yep.
So I'm putting Dylan at the top.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Or Bernard at the top. Pam Beasley second and then Father Jack
Uh-huh.
third. You on board with that?
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I might have to bring in some of the classic Married with Children's where it doesn't happen often, surprisingly, but there's a few where Al's really, really drunk. And they're just brilliant.
Does he sing when he gets drunk?
A couple of times he has. Yeah. Oh, actually, that brings up another one. Blackadder, when they're singing the "See the little goblin, see his little face, look at his little nosy woes in the goblin's way."
Put that in your notes.
Okay.
Just before we move off that topic, obviously we got Bernard hungover the morning after, but when he's at the pub with Manny, there's this bit at the very start where he coughs, and it's a real cough, I think, and he just keeps on going with it. And it's yeah, very well done. Anyway, other highlights: the flashback in the pub, which we were just talking about, where Bernard's offering the job to Manny, and they've filmed it at such an angle that you don't notice that Bernard's actually sitting across the table from this old lady, offering her the job, and Manny sat behind Bernard on the next table over.
So you got, close up on Bernard as he's speaking, then close up on Manny as he's speaking, and then close up, and then,
And then at some point Manny realises...
hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm sat here and Bernard's talking to me, but he's on the table behind, and
It's a nifty little technique.
Yep.
Yeah.
At lunchtime, Manny goes to turn the sign over from closed to open, but it's actually closed on both sides.
Oh,
Classic. The bit where Bernard wants to go, he wants to go out to the Oxfam shop, and he decides he's going to lock Manny in the shop.
because it's what I always do.
Yeah, it's what I always do.
But you don't have to. I'm here now. I can lock up.
Yes, he's not very...
He's totally resistant to change of any sort.
He's very resistant to it.
Oh.
I love the yodeling music.
I don't remember
when
any
Bernard
yodeling
goes out
music.
to the Oxfam and all the people come in.
Oh, yes, right. Because it's party time. And they...
Yeah, it's party time, that's right. They're all buying books. And lastly, the literary jokes, where, can you remember what they were? I think I talked over the top of one of them.
Oh, okay.
It's where Manny's going to unload his life story at lunchtime over a glass of wine. And Bernard says, all right, David Copperfield, if you go that far back, we're going to need some popcorn or something like that.
Ah, right.
And then when Manny's on the phone ordering, he says, I'll have the complete trollop.
Yeah, not you.
Oh, yeah, not you.
That's Joanna Trollope.
Or was it Anthony Trollope?
Oh, is it Anthony Trollope?
I don't know. We don't
Who
know.
would have thought there were two authors with the name Trollope?
Oh, I think she's actually a
Trollope.
relation of some or descendant. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, that's
There we go.
completed my list of fantastic things about this episode. What have you got?
Oh, look, well, I had very similar notes. So it was toilet gag, fly shutting the door behind it. And, there's ones we hadn't mentioned. So there's the customer wants to come in during lunch. So Bernard opens the door a crack.
Yes.
And the chap says, I want a book. And so he just hands him a random one. Take this.
It was sitting on the lampshade near the door.
Yeah. It's very, very good. It'll make you laugh, make you cry, change your whole life. And then takes his $5 or whatever. And the guy wants change. And he goes, all right, what's your address? Okay, now go back there, await my instructions.
Yeah, wait my instructions.
And then, what? Oh. But yeah, that really sets the tone for how he operates. Yeah, it's a brilliant episode, and then, you decide you want to be part of this little universe and see how it all pans out for Manny.
Yeah.
It doesn't pan out well
it
for Manny.
doesn't go well. He's downtrodden, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yes, and we go on from here, and there's lots of crazy stuff that happens.
It's a brilliant thing. So I didn't know if you wanted to discuss the writers at all. Have you got any writer notes?
I thought I had in my notes put something about
Now,
Graham
Arthur
Linehan.
Matthews and Graham Linehan. Is Arthur Matthews in this? Because I know he did Father Ted with Graham Linehan. Did Graham Linehan do Black Books on his own?
No, I think it was created by him and Dylan Moran.
Okay.
I don't know that they co-wrote. They did co-write this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did every episode together.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yes.
we're in danger of Graham Linehan becoming like Ben Elton in
Yes.
that all the output. In fact, Graham Linehan's output is more consistently great than Ben Elton's. Because Ben Elton does have his ups and downs. Like his highs are as high as anybody's, but there are ups and downs. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, it's
I'm
just
tempted to go down that rabbit hole.
we could be in danger of bringing on all the Graham Linehans. So we've done Father Ted. We've now done Black Books. You confessed.
Yes,
Confessed
now I've got
earlier this
Netflix,
morning.
so I've been going through the IT crowd.
Yeah. Do we think this style is oft imitated but never matched?
I can't think of an example that's done it better. I can't think of an example that's even matched it.
I mean, I haven't got any proof for that statement, but I think it is this, surreal, crazy style that they pioneered. And yes, there were probably people before that did similar things, but maybe not to such good effect. And I have the impression, with no examples or evidence, that it's been much copied since.
How do you replicate something that's got Dylan Moran and Bill Bailey in it, though?
I don't know.
It's a bit like Richard Ayoade in
Yeah,
IT crowd. I mean, they're one of a kind. Yeah, one of a kind characters.
that's absolutely true.
I mean, the actors are one of a kind,
Yeah.
and they make the characters one of a kind.
Brilliant characters in this show, just utterly brilliant. And the only other thing I made a note of was, and we still haven't had this discussion, about comedians being actors and mixing in a sitcom with real actors. And they're just so good. Bill Bailey is great. I think he'd be a good straight actor.
Yep.
If this is anything to go by.
Yeah.
He's got all the nuances and it's naturalistic and believable, and Tamsin Gregg is very naturalistic and believable, and Dylan Moran does just such a good job with the character that he doesn't have to be naturalistic or believable.
No. Well, the character's not, is it?
I guess not. Or we don't encounter those people in our everyday lives. So maybe there are lots of them out there, but they're such insular, left-alone people that don't come out into the real world that we don't encounter them.
I did have a bookstore owner in Geraldton grumble at me once.
Yeah?
Because I think I bought a second-hand book which cost about 25 cents and I wanted a bag for it and he refused to give it to me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, well, I was
He wasn't
hoping-
wasting a paper bag on me for my 25-cent book.
And he wasn't drinking wine or smoking cigarettes?
Nah, he
or
wasn't.
anything like
Wasn't
that?
doing any of that.
Bloody bookstore owners.
Yeah.
Ding! So, yeah, that's all I've got. But I really enjoyed that episode. I really enjoyed Black Books. It's a brilliant show.
Good. So does that mean you're supporting the nomination?
Totally.
Awesome.
I think this is as much a slam dunk as you can get.
Okay. I'm very happy with that.
Oh, good.
So you're saying
I'm glad you're happy.
we should avoid it further Graham for another?
No, there's no number that rhymes with Graham.
No, okay.
Look, there's not much to go, so I think, yeah. At some point, the IT crowd will pop up.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
All right, cheers.
See ya.
Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.